Welcome back to Fly Rod Chronicles in North Carolina.
So today's tip of the day, net selection.
You know, Curtis, I think the net is probably one of the most underrated pieces of equipment we have. Spend a lot of time, a lot of money making sure our rods are right, our reels are right. We don't put much thought into our nets.
I'm thinking bigger net, bigger fish. That's not always the case, right?
Well, I mean, certainly you don't want to go in and wade in fishing for 20 and 30-inch fish with a tiny little shallow net.
Okay.
But I think there's three things you really need to consider when you're selecting a net. Number one, the water environment. Sometimes a longer handle makes it easier to reach around rocks. If you're in shallow water, netting in deep water gives you a little bit longer reach to land those fish.
Gotcha.
Number two, your equipment. If you're fishing a 10-foot rod like some of our people here are today, it's awful hard to get a fish back to your feet and be successful landing it. So long reach makes it a lot easier. We've all had that fish flip out right at our feet, you know, and we cuss and curse and everything else. And it's because we didn't have the right net.
Very good.
Finally, the last thing we need to keep in mind is, number one, our own physical abilities. You know, some people's arms are longer, some are shorter. Sometimes you just can't bend over like you used to when you were younger. A little bit different type of net makes a big difference in how successful you'll be when you're doing the last thing that puts that fish on the board.
Very cool, very cool. Well, just one last thing. This rubber netting is incredible, isn't it?
You know, rubber netting's been around for a while, but people like Fisknat have got it down to a science now. It's a lightweight net. Number one, provides excellent durability. You'll have these nets for a lifetime. Number two, it helps stop the spread of invasive species, unlike the cloth does. Number three, these things will save your hands because your hooks don't get hung up in them, so you don't find yourself running around with you, the net, and the fish all hooked together.
I love it. All right, so there's our tip of the day on net selection.